Hey, what's going on guys? It's John here. Today we're going to be going over how to get the exotic hand cannon, Hawkmoon. But before we jump into things, I asked if you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, tutorials, leaks, and more, that you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Anyways, let's jump into it. So starting off, as sort of a mini prerequisite for this quest, you'll actually need to own Season of the Hunt. If you do not own Season of the Hunt, you will not be able to pick up this exotic quest. Anyways, with that out of the way, the first step is to go talk to the spider in the Tangled Shore. Once you've spoken to him, you'll be able to pick up the quest from him called As the Crow Flies, which is the beginning of the quest. And the first step of the quest requires you to find a paracausal feather outside of the spider's lair. And this one's pretty simple. All you have to do is just walk out of the spider's lair and it'll be sitting right there, glowing bright as ever on top of a little fallen crate there. The second step is to then go find another paracausal feather in the European Dead Zone, which will be right here on screen in the sludge in the European Dead Zone. Next up, for the third feather, you're going to have to go to the Cosmodrome. And in the Cosmodrome, you're going to want to go to the steps right there by Shahan. Once you come in, you'll look slightly to your right, and you'll see this giant sort of broken concrete pillar, and you want to jump on top of that, and you'll find your next feather. Then after that, you'll have to go find the fourth feather, which is actually just right outside where you start the Last Wish raid, as well as the entrance to the Blind Well. This one should be pretty straightforward. It should be just sitting right next to the entrance right there to the left. And then after that, you'll have one more feather to find, which will end up being in the Shrine of Oryx on the moon. And to be more specific, this is where the crow actually saved Osiris in the beginning story mission for the beginning of the season in Season of the Hunt. Once you pick up that last feather, you'll then be tasked with going back to the crow in the Tangled Shore. Once you're done talking to him, he'll give you a brand new quest, which requires you to go play a story mission in the European Dead Zone. Now, this mission should be pretty easy to find as it does show up on your map, but in case you're having a hard time for some reason, it is in the sludge area of the European Dead Zone where you found the second feather. And this mission is pretty straightforward. You go through this brand new area, which was originally thought to be a secret mission. It kind of plays out like a secret mission, but there's some interesting dialogue in here. And as a side note, don't leave right away because there is some dialogue that happens at the end when the mission timer is ticking down. So if you're really into that story and lore stuff, I recommend sticking around to listen to all that dialogue play out. But after you complete that mission, you'll be tasked to return to the crow. After you've gone and spoken to the crow, he'll task you with either generating or collecting 50 orbs of power. And this step is very simple. I recommend to do it the fastest, just to go do a lost sector over and over again in the Tangled Shore. As if you're doing it with a masterworked weapon, as well as occasionally using a super, you should get this orbs of power step knocked out pretty quick. And once you're done with that, you'll have to return to the crow again, in which you'll get some more dialogue and more. Once you've spoken to him, you'll be given a brand new quest step, which will require you to go to the European Dead Zone to do a sort of pseudo story mission. It's not really a story mission, but it kind of acts like one. It's kind of weird. It's new. I like it. As a side note, there is a special room which you go to find one of the feathers in, and this is actually in the story. If you guys know, last year during the Dawning, we got some little exposition that the crow was hiding out in a place in the European Dead Zone. And actually, you can interact with some of the things in this room to get some unique dialogue where the crow talks about his experiences with other guardians and such over the past year. Anyways, once you completed this sort of pseudo story mission, you'll be able to return back to the crow for your next quest step. And again, once you've spoke to the crow, he'll give you your next quest step, which will require you to defeat champions or defeat guardians in Gambit or Crucible. Now, according to some people in my clan Discord, it seems like the guardian kills, at least in Crucible, may be bugged right now, as it seems to be getting less than 0.5% per guardian kill, which is very low. It also seems like the Gambit guardian kills only gives 3%, which is nothing at all compared to the champion kills, which also get 3%. If you want my recommendation, I recommend running the hero version of the Empire hunts, as at least with the priestess version I was running, I was getting roughly 27% per completion, meaning you can knock out this quest step in about 4 runs of the hero difficulty Empire hunt, and these only take about 6 to 7 minutes, so they're pretty quick. And once you have finally completed that step, you will go on to the final step, which is to return to the sludge in the European Dead Zone, in which you'll be able to access the final story mission. And the story mission is pretty much the same as the first story mission, except it has way different dialogue, obviously, because it's your second time through. And also there's much harder enemies, and also you end up taking a slightly different path to get to the end of the story mission. But at the end of the story mission, you'll basically have to kill a bunch of shielded enemies. They basically show you how to do it. It's similar to how the ball in the corrupted strike works. But once you kill enough, you'll be given the Hawkmoon. But wait, there's more. You're not done with the story mission just yet. Then a giant taken boss will spawn in with similar mechanics to the enemies you just killed. I recommend using Hawkmoon for this because it makes it go a little bit faster. Basically, the quick little rundown here is you want to take out the boss's shield like you were doing before, take a little more charges, and then at every third of the boss health is down, he'll then regain a new shield. And once you kill the boss, it's the end of the mission and the end of the quest. Meaning it's time to talk about the gun. So, how does Hawkmoon work? It has one and only one exotic perk. Let me explain. As compared to most exotics, which have two exotic perks. The main exotic perk is called Paracausal Shot. Final blows and precision hits with Hawkmoon grant stacks of Paracausal charge. The final round in the magazine deals bonus damage based on the number of stacks. Stowing Hawkmoon on the final round removes this bonus. So basically the whole idea here is you want to get a bunch of precision and headshot kills, and it'll give you the stacks of the perk, which in return on the final bullet in the magazine will give you a bunch of bonus damage. Now this is very important to note, but if you have one bullet in the magazine and you stow your weapon, or you reload while you have paracausal shots in, it'll get rid of all of your paracausal shot charges that you just spent time getting, effectively making it just like Terabah in a way. Now I did note earlier that there is only one exotic perk on this weapon, and that's because the rest of the perks on this weapon can actually be randomly rolled like a legendary weapon. Now as you can see on screen now, it can run with all kinds of different perks. You see stuff like rangefinder, killing wind, different grips, different barrels, all kinds of stuff. What's the best right now? I'm not sure. I haven't gotten much playtime with this weapon. Maybe in the future I will do a second review of the weapon when maybe we get some sort of god roll, but again we'll have to take a look at that in the future. Anyways, to wrap up this video, let's talk about my thoughts of the quest and the weapon. Overall, I really liked the quest. I thought it was a very unique quest. It was a very engaging quest. I really liked it. It gave lots of spicy bits of lore and many pieces to speculate on this, so I can't wait to see the bite videos on this. But yeah, in the quest department, again, good job Bungie. But now it's time to talk about the weapon. What do I think? Well, starting off from a PvE perspective, it's definitely a step up from its Destiny 1 version. With the ability to get a bunch of precision shots pretty easily in PvE with something with like Divinity or something, I've seen it do some pretty hefty damage numbers in PvE so far. Now, as much as I think this will probably be able to compete with maybe some special weapons in terms of DPS numbers, I don't think it's going to be that good or meta for DPS, just simply because it's going to be hitting like pretty par special weapon numbers. And the thing is, reason why special weapons are so good is because you're able to pair it with another exotic like Anarchy, or just some special weapons and heavy weapons that are exotic can just straight up do ridiculous amounts of damage. And the problem is that this is a exotic primary, meaning you can't really equip an Anarchy or something with this in order to do massive amounts of damage. So overall, it's a pretty decent weapon in PvE. Now let's talk about PvP, based off the one match I was able to play that you're probably seeing on screen right now, which I'm sorry, I got absolutely wrecked by this Titan who kept on freezing me in Iron Banner. Overall, I'm kind of mixed on this in PvP. Now apparently this gun was pretty nutty in Destiny 1. I never got to use it in year 1 of Destiny 1 because I was an Xbox player. I never got to see it till the Taken King, and it was okay in Taken King. I never really had a soft spot for it for someone like Dado, who was a PS4 player. Now even in Destiny 1, I thought of it as a very niche weapon, and this is simply from the fact that it was essentially a legendary hand cannon that relied on you to get the stars aligned in order for it to be decent. Now I will admit, in Destiny 2, it is better than it was in Destiny 1, mainly because you can predict instead of having to wait for the stars to be aligned. But this weapon relies on you to get 3, I think, headshots in order for it to be one shot to the body, and with there being 8 bullets in the magazine, this may not be that difficult to do for someone who is a higher skilled player, but I can see this being very difficult for a newer player to use. Unfortunately, when guns like Ace of Spades and Thorn exists in the same exact category with way more range and way more damage, I don't know how useful Hawkmoon is compared to these two weapons. Although again, this is just first impressions without a re-rolled enhanced version of it. I'm just using the base version you get from the quest, which does not come with random rolls. And so there is a possibility that one of the legendary perks which I showed off earlier that I could roll with could enhance this weapon by a lot. Overall, this weapon is just like how it was in Destiny 1 and has very niche, except minus the luck. And even though that it feels good and fun to use, I just feel like other exotic hand cannons in the same category will end up outgunning it. Anyways, this was Acer and John. This was my tutorial and first impressions of Hawkmoon. If you'd like to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, leaks, and tutorials, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. Otherwise, I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.